do this. And again, welcome. Welcome to our monthly March 2023 refresher webinar. And good to see you all. Hope you're doing well and hope your mindfulness practice is helping in some ways kind of cope with all the ups and downs. What I'm going to talk about today, and we'll do again 2 meditations, is something that I've been doing more recently called Relax, Focus, Destress, and Connect. And it's kind of something that I put together in the past few months, and I was sort of thinking about what are the main skills or the main qualities of awareness or mindfulness that help us in these kinds of times. And so the relaxation part is key, I think, to slow down and relax, but also to focus, especially, considering, we're at work and being able to focus on what we're doing. And we have so many distractions these days that pull and hijack our attention. And then, of course, de-stressing, finding ways to interrupt the stress cycle and kind of change our perspective and our relationship to stress. And then finally, the last of connection. We know, I think we all know this, that connection with others is so important, and it's been challenged and a little more difficult. I'm going to mute everybody in these times. So there's a lot to cover in these 45 minutes. So I'm going to go through some of this fast. I will make the slides available later. And as I said, we'll do 2 meditations. So hold on and we'll get started. So just a quick reminder about EFR and some of the services available through our program, just to remind you about that. So the first step is to assess yourself. What is your relaxation level right now? 1 being like completely tense and not relaxed whatsoever. 10 being super chill, super relaxed, almost on the verge of falling asleep, relaxed. So I wouldn't expect you to be at 9 or 10, for example. We're at work, we're up and around and doing things, but just so setting your own score, 1 to 10. Where are you now? You don't have to share this. This is just for yourself, and we'll do it again at the end, and you can sort of see maybe did some of this help, or maybe we'll do it after the first meditation. There are other ways to do that. We have some quizzes on our Achieve Solutions site, as you can see there, related to stress and relaxation and those kinds of things. So if you want to take any of those, and again, I have this perceived stress scale, which is a standardized instrument. If anybody wants that, I'll be happy to send it to you. Just reach out to me, let me know. You could even put it in the chat or just send me an email and I'll send you that perceived stress scale. I think it's 10 items, it's self-scorable, and I've used it before in some of the classes, so you might remember that. So assessing ourselves and then pausing. So we often can't take a full meditation break or relaxation break during the day, but the power of simple little pauses is really important, whether they be a micro pause, just kind of stopping and noticing relaxation level, noticing tension and pausing and maybe doing a little bit of deep breathing, or some of these, I'll go through these kind of quick, but something that brings the relaxation level down to bring the relaxation response of the body and the nervous system, right? So deep breathing, we all know about this, but key points with deep breathing, full in-breath and long, slow out-breath. Let the out-breath be longer than the in-breath. It helps bring on the relaxation response. And also a couple of other tips you can use is when you breathe in, feel the breath into the belly so that you're using diaphragmatic breathing. And you want to do this probably at least 3 times, but probably 5 to 7 is even better. But the point is, we know that when we're stressed or tense, our breathing gets shallow and rapid. So deep breathing helps to kind of bring us back to equilibrium and bring on that relaxation. Savor is this idea of simply when a positive experience happens, spending some time with it, savoring the experience, consciously recognizing it, appreciating it, doing something actively to kind of let ourselves absorb it. You know, usually we just sort of let it go quickly and we don't let it sink in. And so this is the idea of stopping to smell the roses and let it sink in. Good way to take a break. Everyday mindfulness is, as if you've been in any of the classes, this is a big part of our practice, is taking note and being aware of routine activities and bringing our mindful awareness to, for example, washing the hands. This is a good one. We do it all the time. And, you know, we can really feel the water, the temperature of the water, what it feels like, the sound of it. When we lather up, what that's like, the smell of the soap, when we rinse off, when we dry off. That whole experience is pretty involved when we stop to think about it. But usually our minds are problem solving still, even when we're doing those kinds of things. So the idea here is to take our mind offline and to just pay attention to that routine activity. And you can do this with any sort of different activities. And then there are all sorts of other things that you probably already do, but to do them with intention and to do them periodically. And that's the trick, I think, is really reminding ourselves to take a moment or two, or even longer if you can, to bring relaxation to the mind and the body. So whether it's a hobby or music that you like, or exercise, you know, even a flight of stairs or a walk outside, or paying attention to nature, and, you know, all the things that bring us smiles, babies, puppies, and kittens are things that we can intentionally do to relax. And so the idea here is, with this quote, is the more that we do it, the better at it we get. We remind ourselves, we make it a habit, and we are able to more easily tap into this blissful or peaceful state of mind, especially when we're having one of those days, one of those really hectic days. So that's really what we're talking about here, is practice. That's what, you know, I talk about this all the time, but it's so important. Practicing relaxation, making relaxation routine and part of your day. It will make a difference in how you feel at the end of the day. So try that. Now, breathing is a big part of this. I mentioned the deep breathing, but there's all sorts of different kinds of breathing. 4-6-8 breathing, for example, breathing into 4, holding it for 6, breathing out to 8. So that's something you can try, or some variation of that. Box breathing, making our breathing regular and steady. So breathing in to the count of 4, holding it for 4, breathing out to the count of 4, holding it for 4. There's alternate nostril breathing. I can't do all of this, but just to give you some examples, and I do have some handouts if anybody wants a specific technique to let me know. But breathing is always with us, you know, of course, hopefully we're breathing, and we can really use the breath to change our emotional state and you know, to help with the stress. And we'll be talking about de-stressing as well. We can use our imaginations. We can bring ourselves to a peaceful place, imagining. If you want to just sort of do this as I'm talking, close the eyes, use your imagination, think of a place that you go to, that you know of, a real place or completely imaginary place, and put yourself in it for a few minutes. Look around. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? What do you taste? What do you feel? Just really using the senses as much as you can to take a quick mini getaway. And, you can do that at your desk. You can do that, in just a few minutes. And again, it's the same concept. The more we do it, the better at it we get. Some people like that kind of visualization, and it's really helpful. Or you can just simply anchor yourself. You're feeling a little bit tense, just taking a moment to anchor the body, to ground yourself, to feel your feet on the ground like a tree with the roots into the ground, to feel your body in the chair, or, even when you're driving, for example, you come to a stoplight, you can anchor yourself where you're sitting. You can feel your hands on the steering wheel, your feet on the pedals. Standing in line at a grocery store, same thing, just letting the body be anchored and grounded. Great way to just recenter and refocus. Of course, there's gentle stretching, gentle movement, gentle yoga, whatever it is. Also a good way to relax and release tension. So just to remind you about that. And then hopefully bringing us to this state of relaxation, as in this kitty here, of progressive muscle relaxation. Again, I have a handout on this if anybody wants it. Don't have time to do all of these, but just to mention, these are all different ways to relax. So pick one or two and try a couple in the next week or so and see how it works for you. Progressive muscle relaxation just means tensing. You can start with the feet, for example, tensing, clenching your feet muscles, your toe muscles, holding it for about 5 seconds, and then relaxing, and feel the relaxation. Notice the difference between tense and relaxed, and then doing that systematically up through the body, up through the calves, the thigh muscles, the pelvic and lower torso, the belly, the chest. You get, all the way up to the arms, up to the head, and then back down again, if you have time. And this is a great way to fall asleep. It gets you out of the mind. It gets you out of the head, all the stuff that's going on in the mind, and into the body, so you can just really relax the body. So that's relaxation. The next thing I want to talk about is focus. And some of you might have been in on the focus class. This is based on the work of Amishi from this book called Peak Mind. And in a minute or two, we'll do the first exercise, and it'll be relaxing and focus. So she worked with, in her research, with high stress occupations, military, first responders, healthcare. And she found, the research question was, what's the best way to help people in those occupations maintain focus when you really need it, when there are high stakes involved, even when there's a lot of stress. And she found mindfulness practices were the best in her research. And she talks about this idea of a flashlight, focusing your attention with sort of this image of a flashlight, being able to maintain that focus. And we'll do that in the first exercise. You can also use the floodlight kind of attention, which is a broader, more aware of what's around you, what's going on, the bigger picture. And then the juggling, the executive functions, that's all in the book. I've done some things on this so that we can go into more depth, but it all comes together in meditation when you think about it. You train your focus with the breath, and you also are aware of when you get distracted. And so it's sort of the same thing as the being aware, with a wider floodlight of attention, and then coming back to focus, the executive function, noticing, coming back, and then training your attention. Again, the more we do it, we train our attention with this flashlight image so that we get better at refocusing, get better at pointing that flashlight beam where we need it to be pointed in the moment, at work or whatever we're doing, so that we can kind of get into this place. It's almost like being in a state of flow. When you're really immersed into a situation, a project, a task, a hobby, like playing a musical instrument, for example, something like that. You're immersed, absorbed into it. You're really focused. So anyway, that's the whole idea of focused. And another way to do that is when we're meditating or relaxing, you can count your breaths, starting at 1 and going up to 10 or as high as you can. Breathing in, count 1, breathing out, count 1, next breath 2, in and out, 3, in and out. Most people get distracted by the time you get to about 5 or 6 or 7. So you might try that. It's a great way to kind of maintain the focus. It's not about trying to get to 10. It's more about noticing when you do get distracted and then coming back time and time again. That helps us with our focus. You can also use mental noting. And with mental noting, just noting to yourself on the in-breath in and then out on the out-breath. Or you can use phrases like calm on the in-breath, ease on the out-breath, whatever you like, really. It's up to you. And so just different ways to refocus and train the attention system, which of course gets completely off track, especially when we're multitasking. And I think most of us say that we multitask during the day. We kind of have to, but we know that multitasking is very taxing on the brain, and it really actually drains the brain, drains the energy. So paying attention in a more direct way to that focus and training ourselves, and what she says in her research is that 12 minutes seems to be the optimal time. If you can spend 12 minutes on a daily or daily-ish basis, that's when you get the most benefits out of training your focus. 3 minutes to start is fine, but working yourself up to 12 minutes a day, that's the best. So as you know, a lot of our meditations are shorter than that. They're maybe 7 to 8, and usually like our phone meditations are 10 minutes. So let's do the first meditation, and we'll do relaxation and we'll do focus. Okay, so, and let me know if there's any questions. I know I'm kind of going through this kind of quick, but if there's any questions, feel free to use the chat. So let's just take a moment to establish a position where we can be focused, but also relaxed. So whatever that means as you sit, I'm assuming most of us are sitting. You could do this standing or laying down, but talk about it in the sitting position. So being really comfortable, relaxed for the next few minutes. But also you really want to be attentive. So if you feel like you're going to lose your focus, if you're too relaxed, if you're too comfortable, maybe sitting up a little bit or sitting forward on your chair a little bit. You can keep your eyes completely closed, but maybe it's better if you keep them slightly open. Maybe that helps you, which is better for you. Experiment. If you keep them open, maybe slightly open with a downward unfocused gaze. And then what we'll do is we'll just bring our attention as we let the body settle in this alert, attentive, but comfortable posture. Let's make an intention to put aside any unnecessary thoughts. I mean, there's all sorts of things that we've got going on. See if we can put those aside, the plans, the agendas, the to-dos. Think of this time as like a gift to yourself. Everything else can wait until later. For right now, all you have to do is relax and be here. So to start with relaxing, let's maybe first come into the body and just scanning the body quickly, perhaps noticing where there's any tension. Maybe you feel a little tension in the shoulders, for example. Breathing into that area, letting the shoulders soften and relax, and Really just letting the body, in a sense, become a little bit like a wet noodle. And just continuing to breathe as you do this, letting tension flow out of the body if you notice it in any other spot. Perhaps letting the muscles around the face and the jaw relax. And let's take a couple of deep breaths. So full in breath, pausing and holding for a few seconds. Long, slow out breath, emptying all the air out of the lungs. Do that again. In breath, full, hold, long, slow out breath. You can also breathe out through your lips, like through pursed lips. That can sometimes help. One more time. Long in breath. Hold for a few seconds. Breathe out long and slow. Now feel that tension release as you breathe out. Feel your body anchored through your feet, connecting with the ground. Feel the weight of your body in your chair. Let gravity, just let gravity let you settle in. Give yourself permission to relax. All right, now let's bring up this image of a flashlight. And what I want you to do is feel the breath, zero in with this flashlight on a particular point of the breath. Now, this could be feeling the breath at the nostrils or the throat. It could be feeling the breath as it moves in and out of the chest, so you can feel the sensations of the expansion of the ribs and the chest rising and falling. Or you might feel it at the belly. Pick one spot where you can really zoom in and keep your flashlight, your attentional focus with your flashlight, a strong, bright beam focused on that one area. And just continue to breathe. And just simply notice whenever your flashlight is moved. In other words, notice when thoughts or sensations arise that pull your flashlight off target. It could be a sudden reminder that there's something you need to do, or a memory floating up, or maybe an itch or some discomfort in the body that pulls your attention. So notice when your flashlight has been pulled away and redirect it back to your breath. That's all. Nothing special to do other than this simple, gentle nudge, redirecting the flashlight that supportively brings your attention back to the breath. So noticing the rhythm of your breathing. Just see if you can be aware of the process of breathing. Keeping our flashlight aimed at that area. You can also try the counting, like I said before, if you want to count the breaths, or you can try mentally noting if that works better for you. So just try focusing on the breath one way or the other. And whenever you see that the mind has pulled our attention away, or something, a sound or an itch or something has pulled our attention away, just noticing that, coming back to either the flashlight or the counting or the phrases that you're using, mental noting. And each time we do that, it's like a repetition. It's like when we go to the gym, it's a rep. It's strengthening the muscle of attention. And if there's any time where you feel tense again, maybe there's something that comes to mind that makes you feel a little bit of tension, just relax. So we also pay attention to that state of relaxation. So we're cultivating this sense of relaxed attentiveness. And before we close, perhaps making an intention to bring this quality of awareness, this relaxed attentiveness, with us to the next activities of our day. And when you're ready, you can open the eyes and reconnect with your surroundings. And please let me know what that was like. Feel free to put something in the chat there, or speak up if you'd like. And what was that experience like? More importantly, what did you notice? What did you observe as you did it? So first, relaxing. Was it easy to relax, hard to relax? What worked best? And secondly, the focus part. What was good for your focus? Good. Felt a release of tension. Good. That's important. Very relaxing, tension released. Excellent. Very relaxing. Great. A lot of you releasing tension. Yeah, we hold a lot of tension. We don't even realize it. Well, it felt wonderful to feel my shoulders settle down my back. Yeah, our shoulders often are kind of pulled up a little bit as we do things. Difficult to focus on breath due to many thoughts. And that, yeah, such an important insight. The thoughts do, and we'll, in the second meditation, we'll do a little bit of noticing the thoughts. But it's the practice part. We let go of the thoughts, we notice them, we can't get rid of them, but it's the idea of what thought patterns keep coming up that sort of are sticky thoughts, and seeing if we can not react to those, but let them go and come back to the breath. That was very relaxing. Notice how tense I was. Good. So a lot of you were able to tap into that relaxation. Again, remember, do it again, keep doing it, get better at it. And good. Yeah. So where are you at now on that 1 to 10? So maybe, some of you noticed where the grade, because I'm moved from a 5 to a 10. Excellent. Very good. All right, so let's move on. I still got a lot to cover, and we're running out of time already. So it's 1 o'clock, 1 after 1. So quick few words about stress. This is a stress cycle where we get triggered by stress. Lots of stressors during a normal workday. And if we don't do anything to counteract it, we're going to be exhausted physically and emotionally, right? Trick here is to notice when these even little stressors pop up. Where do you notice it? Is it in your thoughts, your feelings, or your body? Seeing if you can notice when you feel stressed, maybe a little bit of irritation, maybe a little tension in the shoulders, whatever it is, and then do something, that one of those relaxation exercises to relax. So we're interrupting the stress cycle. We're not letting it get the best of us. We can learn to get better at stress. We can learn to realize that stress is, even though there's a lot of stressors out there, especially these days, we have control of the internal circuitry, so to speak. We can do something to change our relationship to stress. Mindfulness, as you know, I think is one of the best, most effective, and I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but does help us do all these things: relax, de-stress, increase focus, help with compassion and connection. So to me, it's like a foundational practice. So we get to this, we're able to get to this state, instead of allowing the mind to go off on its own. We're on a walk with the dog and we're still thinking about all the projects, all the stresses, all the worries from home and work. It really clutters the mind, right? That's what we don't want. We want to be able to be like the dog and allow them to just settle so that we can enjoy the moment, savor what's right in front of us. But as Mark Twain said, my life has been filled with terrible misfortunes, most of which never happened. We have a tendency to project and ruminate, worry about things. And look, it's no fault of our own, I think. I mean, like I said, we have conditioned repetitive thought patterns. We have an awful lot going on in the world around us. My advice is, if you listen to the news, do so carefully. If you're on social media, do so carefully. Regulate all of that, because that can trigger a lot of this stuff. And it can get to feel quite a bit like this. It's an overload. It's very burdensome. And they load one on top of another. So William James said, the greatest weapon against stress is our ability to choose one thought over another. So in the last exercise that I'm going to do is we're going to do a little bit of de-stressing and being aware of thoughts and trying to let them go. I think that gets a little harder than just relaxing, but it's a skill nonetheless that we can learn. And it's hard for us to do formal meditation. So I came across this, there's an article I have on ways to meditate without meditating. So basically, as you can see, there are things that you might do already that allow the mind to settle, in other words, it doesn't allow the mind to ruminate and obsess about things. We get really focused in it, and it's sort of that state of flow I was talking about before, so you can do it during all these kinds of activities. So you might try some of this and bringing that mindful awareness to that activity while you're doing it. And that's another way to kind of cultivate a meditative state of mind while you're doing other things. All right, so the last part of it is this idea of giving support, receiving support, and that balance. So most of us, I think, are pretty good at giving support, especially if you're in any sort of caregiving role, whether at work or at home. That's just the way we are. Sometimes we're better at giving than receiving. So being aware of that, we're better at giving compassion. We're not so good at our own self-compassion, being kind to ourselves. And thinking, when we do something that we're not happy with how we responded or whatever it was to a situation, sometimes we make it worse and we kind of get hard on ourselves and we get down and the inner critic comes up and I should have done this, I shouldn't have said that, whatever it is. First step is being aware of that and then sending yourself some kindness, some compassion, treating yourself like your best friend. And we'll do part of that in the last meditation. So this final piece before we get into that last meditation is connecting. And I found this off of a great, there's a link here, which will take you to a New York Times article. They did a 7-day challenge at the beginning of the new year on ways to connect. And each day focused on one of these things. So if you want to look into these a little bit further, they're all research-based and evidence-based. So check them out if you want to learn better ways to increase your connection with others. So don't have time to go into them right now because I want to do the last practice. But in the last practice, we will focus a little bit on taking the weight off our mind, letting certain thoughts go, being aware of thoughts so that we can look at what thoughts are helpful what thoughts are not so helpful, and letting them go. And also we'll talk a little bit, we'll integrate into the meditation some loving kindness phrases and breathing compassion in and out, so that we remember the balance, how important it is to remember taking care of ourselves. All right, so finishing with this meditation, taking a moment to collect ourselves again, sitting in a position that's nicely balanced, being relaxed, maybe relaxing certain areas like we did before: shoulders, jaw, back, belly, whatever you might want to relax. Notice where there's tension, relax it. Let the weight of your body sink into the chair just a little bit. Let your hands be soft and rest comfortably on your lap or your thighs. Allow your senses to be open and alert, and find that balance between relaxation and alertness. And just breathe. Each exhale, allow the weight of your body to surrender itself. Feel each breath in and out, and just rest on the waves of your breathing. So again, first relaxing the body. Remember, thoughts will pop in, and that's natural, and we simply try to catch ourselves when that happens and gently return our attention without giving ourselves a hard time, coming back to the breath, allowing the breath to be our home base. And thinking about stress, understanding what stress is trying to do for us. Stress that we feel just wants us to be safe. And we feel stressed or worried because we care about something. We care about our performance, or how we do when we encounter people, or all the tasks that must get done, and all the things that get in the way and frustrate us. So keeping in mind, stress is really trying to help us in some ways. So I'll invite you to, if it's okay, to bring to mind something that's stressful for you. Nothing big and overwhelming, but something mildly to moderately stressful. Maybe it's something at home with a family member, or work-related, or finance-related, or just the endless to-do list, feeling of overwhelm, not having enough time. Just bring that into the mind and notice what comes up in the mind when you bring that to the mind. Notice the thoughts that come up. And here's the trick. Try not to get caught up in the thoughts. Try not to, remember, we're not trying to solve anything right now or fix anything. Just see if you can watch the thoughts come up almost like from a neutral, impartial place. Sitting back perhaps in the theater, in the seats, and the thoughts are coming up on stage, and you're just watching them, whatever they are, whatever thoughts come up around this stressful situation. Notice the emotions that are connected to the thoughts in the situations, in the same way. And then notice where you might feel it in the body. See if you can detect that. Sometimes we feel it in the chest, or the throat, or the belly. You might even put your hand on your heart, kind of sending yourself and your body a message, that kind of a message of kindness and care. And we'll see if we can use the breath to allow it to be without needing to change it. See if you can follow the breath in and out and relax into it. Keep focused on the breath and return whenever you notice getting wrapped up or carried away by thoughts of the stress. Often we create more stress by feeling stressed or anxious about the stressful event. I shouldn't feel that way, or I have to fix or change or avoid it. See if you can just allow it to be there and just sit with it. Breathe with it. Breathe into it, if that helps. Sometimes the thoughts can feel like a waterfall of thoughts, and they can, occupy our mind. So meditation can help us watch the thoughts like we did before, and we can learn to choose which thoughts we allow and put our attention on and which we let go. This takes a little practice, but that's why we do. That's why it's called practicing as we do our meditations. And we can simply breathe, and we can feel the breath coming in and out of the body. And imagine the breath starting low in the belly, below the navel. And as you breathe, the breath comes up through the diaphragm and chest, up into the head. And as you breathe out, let the breath carry these thoughts out of the head, all the way down through the body, and drain right out of your toes and the soles of your feet. Do that a couple times. Breathing in, picking up the thoughts, picking up the emotions, letting them drain right out of the body as you breathe out, in and out. Lightening the load in your head, breath by breath. You can also use the phrases like be calm on the in-breath, let go on the out-breath, whatever is helpful. And for the final stage, this balanced breathing, as we breathe in, focusing on the in-breath itself, breathe in a sense of refreshment and replenishing, a sense of nourishment on each in-breath. You might breathe it right into the heart area on each in-breath. So it's restoring, it's nourishing, it's bringing in whatever you need. Maybe it's that calm attentiveness. And then as you breathe out, maybe keeping in mind somebody in your circle who needs this same nurturing or calmness or nourishment, whatever it is, breathe out, sending it out to them. So breathing with each out breath, sending them that care and compassion and kindness. And so as you bring it together, breathing in for you, out for the other, balanced, compassionate breathing, self-compassion on the in-breath, compassion for others on the out-breath. And just finishing with these phrases. May we be safe and healthy. May we have moments of peace and happiness. May we be free from suffering. May we live with ease. And so as we finish this last meditation, perhaps just refocusing on the breath or the body, kind of recentering, grounding ourselves again. And when you're ready, opening the eyes if you've had them closed. Finishing that last meditation for today. And thank you so much for your practice with me. I really, really appreciate your presence here, being here together, practicing as a group. We're not in the same room. It's still kind of artificially gathering in a sense on Zoom, but I really do appreciate you being here and practicing with me. And wishing you all the best, and hope you can come again next month in April. Wow, we'll be into spring by then. And thanks very much again for attending and being here with me.